This is Freedom Global News.
President Muhammadu Buhari cancels visit to Zamfara State. Nigeria Police Force aircraft crashes in Bauchi State. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation requests 3 trillion naira as fuel subsidy for 2022. And on the foreign scene, Burkina Faso Army warns ex-officials in discussions over transmission to democracy.
This is Freedom Global News.
Possessing a permanent voter's card is a duty to all citizens. Please ensure you acquire yours. Good evening, you're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Today is the 27th of January 2022, which is equivalent to the 24th of Jumada Thani 1443 after Hijri. And now the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari has cancelled his scheduled visit to Zamfara State. According to Zamfara State Governor Bello Matowanli, the visit was cancelled due to poor weather condition. The governor announced this today, saying the president, who was scheduled to take off from Sokoto aboard a helicopter, had to postpone the visit due to poor visibility. Meanwhile, President Buhari had earlier commissioned a 3 million metric ton cement plant of Buwa in Sokoto. The president was accompanied by the governor of Sokoto State, retired Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambo, and the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, and others. An aircraft belonging to the Nigeria Police Force has crashed in Bauchi State. The aircraft with registration 5NMDA was involved in the accident on Wednesday. There were some injuries, but no fatalities, according to the sources. The Accident Investigation Bureau, in a statement, confirmed the accident, saying it was notified by the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency. The helicopter, which had 6 persons on board, had departed Abuja on Wednesday evening. In a statement by the General Manager, Public Affairs, AIBN, Tunji Oketumbi, said the Bureau was notified of the accident by the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, had forecasted more dust plumes around the northwest and northeast states, capable of dropping visibility below 1,000 meters, leaving flights, cancellations, and delays in its wake. NIMET, in its weather forecast, said thick dust haze with horizontal visibility values of less than 1,000 meters are expected over Maiduguri, Guru, Potiskum, Dutse, Gombe, Yola, Bauchi, Katsina, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano, and Sokoto states. It is unclear if the police chopper crashed as a result of bad weather. The United Arab Emirates authorities have lifted restrictions on flights from Nigeria and 11 other African countries. The UAE National Emergency Crisis and Disaster Management Authority and General Authority of Civil Aviation, which announced this, said it will take effect from Saturday. The ban was initially imposed as part of measures to prevent the spread of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. With the lifting, the United Arab Emirates authorities said flights can resume from countries like Namibia, Congo Republic, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Kenya, Lesotho, Mozambique, and Botswana. Nigeria has dropped 5 places in the 2021 Corruption Perceptions Index released by Transparency International on Tuesday. The CPI rated Nigeria, which scored 24 out of 100 points in the 2021 index, as the second most corrupt country in West Africa after Guinea. Correspondent Mohammed San Uba reports.
In the Corruption Perception Index 2020, Nigeria ranks 154 out of 180 countries and territories, falling back 5 places from the rank of 149 in 2020. This is coming against the backdrop of the federal government avowed fight against the menace. The 2021 Corruption Perception Index, released by Transparency International, shows corruption is on the increase in Nigeria. It is Nigeria's second consecutive year of a downward spiral on the Transparency International International Corruption Perceptions Index ranking. Also, Transparency International ranked Nigeria among 27 countries that are at their lowest score since the earliest comparable year of available data, 2012. However, the Nigerian authorities, on the other hand, have always criticized any unfavorable Transparency International report that point to worsening corruption in the country. It claimed last year, in reaction to the 2021 assessment, that Transparency International was unaware of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's achievement in the battle against corruption. Meanwhile, many high-profile corruption cases involving politicians and prominent Nigerians are ongoing in court across the country. They include those involving a former chairman of the Pension Reform Task Force team, Abdurrashid Maina, a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dizani Alisa Maduwaki, a serving Senator, Uzo Kalu, who got out of jail and now face fresh trials, a former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Adoke, a former media aide to former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Toyin Okupe, and a former spokesperson to the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Olusemetu. Some Nigerians bear their mind on this disturbing position.
It shows a negative performance of Nigeria, and this has been some kind of trend over the years. We've not been seeing improvement. Nigeria is always going down.
This is a very disturbing figure, a very disturbing position to be. Recently, Nigeria has always been leading from the bottom in almost all developmental indexes.
Malam Bala Abdullahi Gatwama, Executive Director of Rural Development Concerns, said the report release is not surprising.
It is an indication of lack of seriousness in our country's resolve to fight corruption. Not only that, there were other instances where people who were arraigned before the courts on corruption charges and they were sentenced only to later be released on account that the legal procedure was technically faulty.
Awal Musa Rafsanjani, Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, and the head of Transparency International in Nigeria, says the failure of the anti-graft authorities to investigate high-profile corruption cases and prevent illicit financial flows were part of the reason Nigeria dropped in the ranking.
The outright stealing and abduction of public funds meant and allocated for development in Nigeria by some wicked public office officials at a local and national level is overwhelming, and therefore, if the government did not come up with legal and policy framework and ensure enforcement compliance, there's no way ranking will change.
According to experts, the ranking may be a strong indicator that corruption has gotten worse over the years. Muhammad Sani Uba, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com.
Musa, me kake nema a cikin kitchen?
Masoyiyata, ina son cokali in sha magani.
Masoyina, ka ɗauki comics kawai, ka yaga, sha, ka samu sauki.
Haka ne fa, ku yi amfani da comics ma duk kai tari. Comics yana da dextromethorphan da guaifenesin. Kawai ku yaga ku sha, ku samu sauki, yana kulele in ka sha. Aha, na samu sauki yanzu. Ina son comics. Comics, kamfani Orange Drugs Limited da ke yin kasuwanci da dilancinta. Maganin zai iya saka kasala. In alamar tarin bata tsaya ba bayan kwana 3, ka ga likitanka. Comics yana kulele.
Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has requested the sum of 3 trillion naira as fuel subsidy for 2022. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this to State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday. The minister added that in 2022, because of the increased crude oil price per barrel in the global market, now at $80 per barrel, and also because NNPC's assessment is that Nigeria is consuming 65.7 million litres per day, that would end up with an incremental cost of 3 trillion naira in 2022. And on the sporting arena, some basketball players and supporters have stormed the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to stage a peaceful protest over the leadership crisis ravaging the Nigeria Basketball Federation. Correspondent Zara Zenna has details of this and other sports updates.
The players' representatives in the Musa Kida-led MBBF board and NBA star Ejike Uboja led the protest. In another update, Senegal have been handed a huge boost at the 2021 African Cup of Nations with the return of Watford star Ismaila Sarr from injury. Sarr, who has been out of action since November 20th because of a knee injury, joined Aliou Cisse's side for a full training session. His return provides more attacking options for the West Africans who have struggled to score just 3 goals so far in the African football showpiece. Meanwhile, Frank Lampard remains in contention for the Everton job as owner Farhad Moshiri holds of appointing the previously favoured Vitor Pereira. Lampard has already held talks and further discussions are expected in an increasingly chaotic process. Derby County manager and former Everton striker Wayne Rooney is also on the shortlist, although he appears to be the outsider. Similarly, Barcelona have opened talks with Wolves over a deal to re-sign Spain winger Adama Traoré. The Catalan club wants an initial loan deal with an obligation to buy at the end of the season. The move ends Tottenham's hopes of signing the 26-year-old who began his career at Barcelona. And on tennis, Daniil Medvedev will take on Stefanos Tsitsipas in a second straight Australian Open semi-final tomorrow. The pair met at the same stage on the Road Lava Arena last year, with Medvedev winning in straight sets. The Russian battled from 2-set down against Canada Felix Auger-Aliassime to set up a repeat meeting with the 23-year-old Greek Tsitsipas. Zara Zanna, Freedom Radio.
And on business, Mohammed Abba Abdullahi has updates.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has advised Nigeria and other developing economies with large foreign currency borrowings and external financing need to prepare for turbulence in financial markets. The Washington-based lender also said countries such as Nigeria should consider extending their debt maturities as a means to consign foreign exchange fluctuations. Report says that the national policy should be tailored to country-specific circumstances, and both fiscal and monetary policies must work in sync to achieve economic goals. The World Economic Report noted that less accommodative monetary policies in advanced economies are set to pose challenges for central banks and government in Nigeria and other emerging markets. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has called for the establishment of more industries in Nigeria to reduce the unemployment and crime rates. The call was based on a motion moved by a member, Chinedu Martins, at its plenary meeting yesterday. The House also urged the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to urgently develop a comprehensive template for the establishment of industries across the Federation. According to Martins, the unprecedented rate of unemployment, the roots of the social vices currently experienced in the country. Muhammad Abba Abdullahi, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, the Burkina Faso military that overthrew the country's government has warned the former ministers not to leave the capital or obstruct its officers during discussions over how to return to democratic elections. The officers, who call themselves the Patriotic Movement for Safeguard and Restoration, MPSR, deposed President Roch Kabore on Monday, saying his government had failed to contain worsening violence by armed groups. The MPSR has said it would propose a calendar for a return to constitutional order within a reasonable time frame, but has not elaborated on its plans for a transition. According to one of the ex-ministers present, who asked not to be named, said MPSR's leader, Lieutenant Colonel Henry Paul Damiba, met members of the overthrown government of Kabore on Wednesday. Damiba warned them not to do anything to obstruct the army or to travel outside the capital, but added that he welcomed any contribution but they could offer to the transition. The army also met a group of trade union leaders today in the capital, Ouagadougou. And with this, we've come to the end of today's Global News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Have a wonderful evening.